शुद्ध भक्त चरण रेणु भजनानुकूल। भक्त सेवा परम सिद्धि प्रेमलति करमूल। परम सिद्धि प्रेमलति माधवती भक्ति जननी यतने पालन कोरी। कृष्ण वसती वसती बोली परमादरे बोली। गौर अमार जे सब स्थाने कुरलो भ्रमण रंगे। कुरलो भ्रमण रंगे से सब स्थान फेरिबो आमी प्रणये भक्त संगे। फेरिबो आमी प्रणये भक्त मृदंग वाद्य सुनिते मन अवसर सलयाचे। गौरविहित कीर्तन सुनी आनंदे हृदय नाचे। युगल मूर्ति देखिया मोर परम आनंद हो। परम आनंद हो। प्रसाद सेवा करिते होय सकल प्रपंच जय। गृह भजन देखी गृहते गोलोक भाया। चरण हिंदो किया गंगा सुकना सीमा पाया। तुलसी देखी जुड़ाय प्राण माधव तोषणी जानी। तुलसी देखी जुड़ाय प्राण माधव तोषणी जानी। गौर प्रिय शाक सेवन जीवन सार्थक वाणी। भक्ति विनोद कृष्ण भजने अनुकूल पाया। प्रतिदिवसे परम सुखे स्वीकार करो एका Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare कलियुग पावन हरिनाम संकीर्तन की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की श्रील प्रभुपाद की ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। So today is the third day, last day. So you all had different sessions by various devotees. And so how many of you here are between 20 to 25 here? Age bracket 20 to 25. Okay, how many of you less than 20 here? Anybody? Okay, he's the youngest. Okay. And anybody above 25 here? About 25 to 30. Okay. So this topic of discipline, regulation and habits. Let's take one quote from Prabhupada. One of you can read it, please.
With Hare Krishna, without being self-controlled, without being disciplined, and without being fully obedient, no one can become successful in following the instruction of the spiritual master. And without doing so, no one is able to go back home, back to Godhead.
Yeah. So there are three words used here. You can remember the DOS command, we call it DOS. Discipline, obedience, self-control. It's easy to remember this. So these three qualities are very valuable in our Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. You all are devotees. You have already understood the importance of Krishna consciousness. Many times we all know the importance of becoming Krishna conscious. But despite knowing that, still we feel ourselves dragged by our schedule, dragged by our old habits, dragged away by, different lesser priorities, overtaking the more important priorities. So, therefore, how to implement these three qualities? Discipline, obedience, and self-control. Please recite this verse. Ragadvesha vimukhtaistu Vishayan indriyascharan Atmavasyairvidheyatma Prasadam adhigacchati. One of you can read the translation, please. Any of you? Yeah?
But a person free from all attachment and aversion and able to control his senses through the regulative principle of freedom can obtain the complete mercy of the Lord.
So the scriptures give us one very great secret for conquering our lower nature. Lower nature means what? For example, somebody has a habit of overeating or somebody has a habit of oversleeping. The scriptures say the secret for conquering such habits is regulation. One has to be regulated. Like for example, if somebody has a habit of eating too much sweet, then the scriptures say you regulate that habit by eating little sweet moderately rather than trying to give it up. So there is a regulation given. So that regulation is prescribed by the spiritual master. There are two verses I can think of, one in Bhagavatam, one in Bhagavad Gita. You heard the verse, Mamit Chaptum Dhananjaya? What is that verse? Ate tadapya shaktosi kartum madhyogam ashitaha sarva karma phulatyagam. I'm sorry, before that. Okay, let us begin with this 12.7 we can begin. Mayyeva mana asaktva mayi buddhim niveshaya nivasishyasi mayyeva ati gurdhvam na samshayaha. And then adachittam samadhatum na shaknoshi mayi stiram abhyasa yogena tato mamit chaptum dhananjaya. Correct, he says. That means chanting 16 rounds, following 4 regs, plus mamit chaptum, he says. You also should have a longing to attain me. So, that desire to attain Krishna translates as obedience to spiritual master. Because you all know very well, only by obedience to Guru, we can please Krishna. What is the formula, 8th stanza of the Guru Vandana? What is it? Of the Guru Vandana, the 8th. Yasya prasadad. Yeah. So if Guru is pleased, Krishna is pleased. Correct, no? So therefore, if I am obedient to Guru, then my longing for Krishna will increase by that. So, therefore you know that. So, that regulation, how it comes, we will talk about it. You see, this crow story is well known to all of you. He brought the stones and put it more and more so that the level of water can rise. Correct, no? and then he drank the water. This is a well-known crow. But there was another crow who is considered more smarter, this crow, who brought a straw from a juice shop, and he could drink water very easily. So, why I am saying this, see below what is written here. A smart leader will look for innovative, smart ways of managing their competition, growing the business, and desired leadership traits also have changed over a period of time. Earlier, they were looking for hardworking, determined people who stick to position and all. But now life has changed. Actually, people are not expected to be hardworking, determined, or sticking to position nowadays. Then what? People are looking for smart, well-informed, agile, strategic, business and number focused, people focused who have global exposure or successfully says. Why? Which means spiritual life in those days, maybe 2 decades ago, was very easy. I remember in 1995 when I started preaching in Pune, life was pretty cool. 9 to 4 job, and you had ample of time, morning and evening. Now you are living in the world now where there's a fierce competition. People are being laid off from jobs. Big companies like Google and everything. So survival has become a great challenge nowadays. And also people fight traffic, traveling long distances, either by the company bus or in their car. And anytime you'll be asked to travel across the globe, correct? Like in Pune, many of the Pune men, they'll be asked to go to Canada, Australia, Germany, America anytime for a month or 2 or sometimes even 1 year also like that. So that means you don't have a fixed place to stay. You are asked to travel. You don't have fixed hours of work. You may be asked to do more work, more load of work sometimes. Sometimes you have to prove yourself in the company for survival, so you have to work extra hours of work, or also keeping abreast of the latest trends. Correct, no? Nowadays, if you don't know what is happening in the last 1 week or last 2 weeks, they will ask you, are you going through the latest thing that's happening? They will ask you. So, in such a fierce world, the external situations are not so easily changeable by you. You cannot change them. Therefore, here comes the importance of, if you really want to be smart, you will learn something today. You will see what will make you a regulated person, let us say. I'll come to that. See, here is talking about different type of agility, you see. See the right side one. Ability to examine problems in unique and unusual ways, skilled communicator with other people. There are many agilities. Results agility, self-awareness, mental agility, people agility. Agility means adaptability. Adaptability. For example, when you get married and you have a wife, you have different type of personalities. You have to adapt. In the company, you have boss. You have to stay with different types of people. So that's called people agility. You can work, skilled communicator who can work with diverse types of people. Correct, no? Similarly, change agility means when technology changes, many things change. You should be ready for it. Similarly, results agility means delivers results in challenging first-time situations. So, both in your professional friend, family friend, as well as in the path of devotional life also, things are highly in a flux nowadays. It is not like the good old days. In those days, your grandmother may ask you, did you get a permanent job? She will ask you, correct? Now, will anybody ask you? If you are permanently in a job, people will look up and down. I think this fellow is not growing. They will say now. Correct, no? Every 2-3 years, people hop and jump from one job to another. The reason I am spending the last 5-10 minutes in warning you about the nature of the outside world, why am I doing it? Anybody can say? I told you various variabilities in the outside world. And how many of you agree with what are the things I told you? Correct? This, your job is not in one location. Within India, you are transferred, or all over the world, you are transferred. Number of hours is not fixed. And sometimes you have to hop and jump from one company to another. There are layoffs. These are all in the professional front. And you have to keep abreast of the technology, latest things. So there is always a kind of risk involved. What will happen when, nobody can say, isn't it? This is a professional front. In the family front also, gone are the previous days where women were homemakers, and the husband was working. Now many women are also working now. Husband, wife, both are working, both are bringing money. Sometimes they may be housewives also, possible. Yeah. And also, men, women, both are educated, both are degree holders. and you don't have the support system of your mother, father, grandmother, grandfather living like a joint family. Many a times you have to live as a nuclear family in a city. Correct now? So the family front also, even when one or two children come, the whole responsibility comes on the couple. Husband, wife have to raise the child, correct now? And then you need to take support of the people around you in your colony or in your devotee community or whatever. So again, you have to deal with unknown people, new people, and you have to know how to deal with them and all, correct now? Unlike in those days when one was in a joint family, there was a very strong support system. That support system is lacking nowadays because the joint families have got dismantled. Agree? Correct. So this is in the family front, and I told you in the professional front. And in devotional service, one good thing in devotional service is 16 rounds is fixed at least. 16 rounds, following 4 legs. This is a minimum for initiation. Correct? Not taking initiation. And then Prabhupada books are fixed. So that is true. Hmm. And in devotion service, but you have to also be making plans to grow in devotion service. You don't want to just do the rock bottom minimum. Correct, no? Then there is Swadhyay, there is Sadhana, there is Seva, there is Siddhant, 6 S's which we say, there also. So, why am I telling these challenges to you in the beginning? Can any of you guess why am I saying these challenges to you? Any of you? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay, one point he has brought out, good point. By learning what is regulation, we can face the challenges. Thank you, very good. That's a good point. I'm looking for one more point.
Plan our spiritual practices so that we can have good, we can plan our spirituality nicely by knowing all these things. So that we will be alert from initial days. Like we have to
He
work.
has come even more close. So he said, what's your good name? Indra? Indra Neil said, by cultivating regulation, we will be able to, face these things, situations, correct, no? And then he said, we can plan our spiritual life, correct, no? In such a way that in the midst of all these challenging situations, how to survive, we can know. That is also correct. I'm looking for one more answer I'm looking for. Let us see. Anybody else? Yes? If our spiritual foundation is not so good, we cannot tackle this problem. He has come very close to the answer I was looking for. He is the closest now, till now. Actually, you started at this much distance. He brought it here, and he brought it here. Huh? Very close. Almost is about to release the answer. You heard the 3 answers? He said regulation is important for tackling all these things. And he said we have to design our spiritual life, mold our spiritual life in such a way that we will be able to face all these different challenges, he said. And you said? I give the mic to him. Give the mic to him.
If our spiritual foundation is not so good, then we cannot tackle these problems.
If our spiritual foundation is not good, we won't be able to tackle this problem. So what answer I was looking for is very close to what you said. I want to tell you that we can't afford to be very casual in the modern times with our spiritual life and practices. How many of you have experience that many times we make plans, but those plans don't get executed? How many have? Yeah. How many times, we have been a bit careless about, the study of Prabhupada's books and hearing of the lectures and chanting of the holy name properly and all these things. Generally, these things assume a back seat. Huh? Many other priorities come in the front. You agree? Correct, no? So we do some rock bottom minimum in spiritual life, and then we hope and pray that everything will be all right with us. So you will see that the greatest reason for this. Just show you this 1 minute. That is that. So you have to find out then which mode. This is in which mode? One of you read it quickly. Where is the mic with you? Yeah, you are able to see it, all of you? Okay.
Never setting goals or setting goals and not sticking to them.
Which guna? Tamaguna.
Moving around and socializing too much to feel security.
This is also Tamaguna because to feel security, he is moving around and socializing. He wants to say that I am not alone. I also have some friends. I also have some people who think about me. So therefore, he is moving around.
Low level of concentration, getting easily distracted by trivial things.
No, distraction is in Rajaguna. Because, like for example, you have multiple channels in TV also. People keep hopping and jumping. You've seen that between one choice to another. There are too many good choices. When you're hopping and jumping, that kind of distraction comes from Rajaguna. Yeah.
Doing more than one thing at a time and accepting unrealistic deadlines.
Rajaguna, yeah. Yeah. That's not working. Getting involved in everything to gain credit and popularity.
Getting involved in everything to gain credit and popularity.
Rajaguna.
Indecisive and postponing decision. Raju.
Yeah. Color itself shows that.
Thinking no one else can manage my work if I am absent.
I'm indispensable. Thinking like that. That's Rajaguna.
Feeling difficulty to work with highly accomplished and smart leaders.
In a team, if you have a team. Yeah, actually, if it is like you are individual player, you are not a team player, then you suffer that. You can't work with others. Or you also feel I should be surrounded by yes men, correct? No? And then only you can work. So therefore, these people cannot work as a team cooperatively. People. Yes, Rajaguna.
Forgetting things or badly organized, unclean desk.
Yes.
Looking for too much of perfection in job, leading to micromanagement.
Yeah. Because some people tend to interfere with their subordinates too much, micromanage. Then neither do they empower them, nor are they able to save their time. So when you can delegate and be detached, then subordinate grows and gets empowered. When you don't delegate, then you do everything yourself, and they are also frustrated. It's micromanagement. So I showed you 10 situations now, in which now you understood one thing. All these different situations are going to spoil your time. You agree? They spoil your time, all these things. So that means that generally the time spoiling items are Tamaguna and Rajaguna. So that indirectly gives us a clue what we have to do. We have to find out how we can elevate our mind to Satwa. So like he was telling that point. What was the point he made? Third point he made. Ask him. And the spiritual foundation has to be good, he was telling. Now you will see in Tamaguna what happens. We have no control. We are practically dragged by our mind and senses in different directions. For example, in the morning, somebody is not able to get up from the bed. One is lying down, and then when you just look out of the window, it's a foggy day or a rainy day. It's dark. It's about 5 o'clock or something like that. Again, you cover yourself with the blanket and sleep. You get some special type of pleasure in that, correct, no? Morning. Now, on the other hand, you get up from the bed, put yourself into the shower, and then come back, wear your dress, and then put on the tilak and everything, and then you wipe the place where you slept, and then put a chatai and sit and chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, you're chanting. That also gives you pleasure, correct? What is the difference between the first pleasure and second pleasure? First pleasure was? Second pleasure? So this is a higher pleasure, and that is a lower pleasure. And both are pleasure. Now, what is the problem in accepting the first pleasure instead of the second type of pleasure? For example, so in case you just covered yourself with blanket and slept till 7 o'clock, and then you take a bath and you eat your breakfast and you have to go to company, now the rounds remain undone. Correct, no? Then in the company you have tension that my rounds are remaining. Correct, no? When you go, and then all day you spend in the company, you come back at 8 o'clock at night and you have to catch up with the rounds, many rounds are remaining. So, the Tamaguna gives you pleasure in the beginning. You may think that lethargy is enjoyable, but eventually the results are disastrous. Then rounds remain for the next day. Right now, Sataguna takes a little effort for you to get up from the bed, and then once you are ready, you taken bath, then you can chant very nicely. Then you get the whole morning time. 5 o'clock you got up, 5:30 you are ready. 5:30, 7:30 your rounds are over. Correct, no? Like that. That's the point. So, in Satwa Guna means you are steady, you have control of your situations, you have control of your speech, you have ability to think, ability to make decisions, and you are able to choose between what is right, what is wrong. You can discriminate, and you can act wisely, and you are able to accomplish a lot of tasks in a short time. That is actually the real smartness, right now. Because basically what in Sattva-guna, you have control of your life in hand. Whereas in Tamaguna, you have zero control. You are dragged by the bad habits like lethargy, laziness, becoming panicky, and you are disempowered. So, actually, you have two equipments Krishna has given you, mind and the body. Mind is for storing your desires, and body is for executing the desires. So, mind is like a hard disk where you store the desires, and body is like a servo motor where you execute the desires, correct, no? So, now, if you want to have a command over the mind and command over the body, if you keep yourself in Sattva, then you have good amount of control. You can design your day, or you can act by default. Two options, design or default. So what are the default options? Atyahara, Prayasa, Prajalpa, Niyamagraha, Janasanga, Laulyam. These are default options of a conditioned soul. Vacho Vegam, Manasa Vegam, then Krodha Vegam, Jihva Vegam, Udara Vegam. These 12 are default options of a conditioned soul. So, by nature we tend to overeat. By nature we tend to do Prajalpa. By nature we tend to be neglectful, Niyamagraha, in spiritual life. By nature, we tend to become angry for small, trivial issues in life. So these are all default options. And what is designing? Utsahan, Nishchaya, Dhairya, Tattat Karma Pravartana, Sangatyaga, Satovritte. That is design. But to go from default to design, what do you need? To go from default mode to design mode. What do you need? Yeah? Goodness, exactly. Because if you practice Sattva Guna and qualities, habits, then you will not go by default. You can design. For example, I am going to speak. So what will I speak? You will think twice before you speak. You heard the saying, the spilt milk, the broken glass, or the sped arrow, or spoken words cannot be taken back. You heard that saying? So which means these are all things, once done, you can't get it back. Correct, no? So that means a person in Sattva can think before he speaks. He can think before he acts. It's called as first vision, then action, we call it. First vision, then action. Sattva-guna, you can have vision for your day, vision for the week, vision for the life. You can have. You can mold your life. You can decide. But in Rajoguna, you have some control. Now I'll explain about Rajoguna very soon. And in Tamaguna, we have no thinking, no action. Tamaguna means neither thinking nor acting. Therefore, Nidra, Alasya, Pramad, Krishna is telling. So, Nidra means sleep, Alasya means lethargy, and Pramad means madness. Because these people, without thinking, they do foolish things. Just like that fellow who was sitting on the branch of a tree and cutting the same branch. Imagine he's sitting here and he's cutting this branch. It's foolish fellow, correct now? It's a wrong action, wrong decision. It is arising from lamentation and illusion. Like Ashwatthama acted in ignorance, killing the 5 Pandava children, correct now? Whimsical action, foolish action. That is actually Tamaguna. We make indecision. Sometimes a person says that, oh, this task I have been struggling. He has done 70%. And then he will say, it's becoming too much, now I give it up. After doing how much? 70% also. So he cannot complete. So one of the aspects of Tamaguna is destruction. He doesn't know how to act. He doesn't think. He's not able to make the indecision, confusion, bewilderment, panicky, insecurity. These are all Tamaguna. So why I am talking about Tamaguna? Because unless we know what is Tamaguna, we will not be able to rise above it. Therefore, Krishna talks about it in Gita also. Similarly, in Rajoguna, it is not that you cannot think. Rajoguna, you can think, but we do partial thinking. Partial thinking and acting. So what is the problem with partial thinking? In Tamaguna, no thinking, no acting. So in Rajoguna, there is partial thinking and acting. Why? What's the problem with partial thinking? Yeah? Vision is not clear. It's a bit hazy. Correct, no? Like for example, a man going to company. He thinks if company gives him more salary, then they say that instead of 13 hours, work 16 hours. Immediately mind says, go ahead. Correct, no? Because his decision is based on, he is driven by money. Correct, no? Or if he is able to move to another place where he will get a big post, away from the temple, away from devotees, where there are no devotees there. So if he is driven by the position and power, he will go away from the devotee association. Because that is also in Rajaguna, correct, no? For him, position, power, money, that's all important. So he doesn't mind the time, but later on he finds there is no time for wife, there is no time for family, there is no time for God. That realization will come not now, after some time, when he gets burnt out. That means Rajaguna is partial thinking. Like you heard the story of a man who went to the forest on his horseback, and he sat under a tree, he played his guitar, he spent some time, and then when he was coming back, the dog who went with him was blocking his way, not letting him go. He was wondering why the dog has gone mad. Just took his gun, he shot that dog. But then when he was coming back after a few kilometers, he suddenly realized my wallet is missing. So he went back to the tree. Sure enough, he found the wallet there, and the dog was keeping the hand there and bleeding in the mouth and dying. It was dead. So then he took the wallet and money was safe. Then he tried to sprinkle water and wake up the dog. Could he wake up? Because it was too late. Because before shooting the dog, he didn't think deeply. Most of the passionate decisions are made like this. Hasty decisions. We make wrong decisions. Because we are driven by what is immediately in hand and what is important, although it may be a trivial thing. See, in the railway station, you will see Rajdhani Express comes, unit train comes. Which one will they send first? Rajdhani Express, right now. Unit trains are not important. They just go station to station. But similarly, we have chanting holy names like Rajdhani Express. And all other activities are like unit trains. But sometimes we put unit train first. You give signal for that. When those activities cloud your day, then the Rajdhani Express of chanting holy name remains. Correct, no? Then other things assume priority. So prioritization ability comes from increasing Satwa also. Making the right priority. So if you make the wrong priority, that is going to create problem. Just 1 minute. See, have you ever faced this situation? I need more time, I want to, everything is, this fellow is trying to. See, if you ask someone to fill up all the stones and pebbles and sand and water, first he put sand. See, he has put the sand first, then he put the stones. But the bigger stones, some stones remain, correct, no? The wrong prioritization, correct? What is the right prioritization? We are not able to fit the big rocks. So let us fill in the ingredients in the reverse order. First in this put the bigger rocks, see? And then put the smaller ones, and then do like this. There you go. And then put the sand, and then put the water, everything is done. So what did you learn from this? Yeah? Priority, yeah? How is it relevant to our spiritual life and our professional life? Yeah? How is it relevant, this one? What are the big rocks? So identifying the big rocks. What are the big rocks? Yeah? Okay. So for how many of you say chanting 16 rounds is the biggest rock? Okay. And then what else you would say? Yeah? Yeah, morning program somebody is saying, okay. For how many of you morning program is also a big rock? Yes. Okay, almost half of them are raising it. Okay. And then? Yeah? Okay, how many of you say hearing? It's also a big rock. Somebody is saying we can hear at the weekend. We may not be able to hear every day. Somebody may say that. Huh? How many of you say hearing is a big rock also important? Okay. And then? Yeah? Book reading. Yeah, so a lot of things are there, correct, no? You have book reading, you have hearing, you have chanting, you have artis, and at least you have to go for one program a week at least, correct, no? And temple also they may say, why don't you do some seva also, huh? Correct, no? So these are all in spiritual. So one has to, right, spiritual life, these are all my duties. In family life, these are my duties. In profession, these are my things. And amongst them, you have to prioritize. Hmm? So, when you prioritize the vital ones, then it's like putting the big rocks I showed you. See, in this what you found, we put the big rocks first, if you see here, and then small rocks are fitting, which means what? Some people fit in like while you're going to company. While going to company, you hear the lecture. While returning from the company, you hear one more lecture. So hearing goes very smoothly. That's like fitting the smaller rocks. Correct, no? Otherwise, while going to company, you'll be just gossiping with somebody. Instead of that, you put on. So many people are hearing radio, Marichi putting the earphone. Why not we hear spiritual lectures? Correct, no? You can utilize your time. So, in the same manner, reading also many times in travel, here, there, you can read like that. That's like fitting the smaller rocks. And then fitting further, smaller ones. Like this I do also. Sometimes while going, coming here and there, you make phone call to those important people who called you, want to call back. You don't have to take exclusive time for this. Correct, no? Similarly, the water. So, smaller ones can be done later. Even if you don't do them also, it is not a big loss. So, in that connection, I want to tell you this. See the quadrant of action is called as do now. This is crisis. This is called as urgent but important. Urgent and important. And this is quadrant. These two are the only thing you should focus on in life. Other two quadrants are useless. I will tell you what they are. First here you see, the yellow one I have shown you, this is one thing I will request you to pay your attention well in this, because if you learn about this, you save a lot of your time. Enormous amount of time. If you see the quadrant 2 is called as important but not urgent. So let me give you some examples. Say you have a gas cylinder at home. It's going to get over in 1 week. Say wife is telling the husband, please, you have to bring it in 1 week, it will get over. He says, okay. And then 3 days. It's going to get over in 3 days. He said, okay. Then only one day it will come. He says, okay, today I'll remember. But you forgot to bring. The next day she is cooking sabji. Half sabji is cooked. And the cylinder got over. So that goes to which quadrant? It goes to urgent important. That means what is not done in the second quadrant goes to first quadrant. Similarly, you kept 4 rounds in the morning. You thought that, when I'm going to company bus, I will finish the 4 rounds. And company bus, you slept off. And the company became very busy. Evening, you come back. Evening, you're thinking, I will chant. And then the family members come, relatives come, you have been talking. Suddenly, night, you realize it's almost 10:30, you're going to bed. Then you find 4 rounds are remaining. Correct? Now, that time it becomes to which quadrant? First quadrant. It has become urgent important. Otherwise, sometimes it is 11:30 and you have to do 4 rounds. That means before 12, you have to complete. It's like that, correct now? So it goes to quadrant 1. What is not done in quadrant 2 comes to quadrant 1. Therefore, intelligent people, what they do? Planning, training, all these things comes in quadrant 2. It's a quadrant of quality. Anybody who plans in advance, they're intelligent people. See, meditation, yoga, chanting, planning, preventive maintenance, self-development, relationship building also. Taking out time to build relationships with people. That will help in accomplishing many goals. Training, education, empowerment. You understand, no? This is actually called as quadrant 2. It's very, very famous one. And see, quadrant 1 is a quadrant of action. And the other two, see, quadrant 2 is in Satwa. Quadrant 2. Quadrant 1 is in Satwa plus Rajas. It goes to Rajaguna. And here you will find this is also Rajaguna. But it is useless Rajaguna. It is urgent but not important. Useless telephone calls. And how many of you have experienced something urgent, they say, but it is not important for you? The experience. Like I showed you those 10 items, they all come in quadrant 3 and quadrant 4. They come in this. Quadrant 4 is Tamaguna. Quadrant 3 is Rajaguna and Tamaguna. So the quadrant 2 is Satwa. Satwa people actually are creative, innovative, thoughtful. They plan in advance. And you can coolly do things. Yeah. Whereas in Rajaguna, there is a burnout, there is a hurry-burry. So these are called the 4 quadrants. See, do now, decide, delegate, delete. So what are some of the things you all feel you can delegate to others in your life? You can tell me. What are things which you feel you need not do and somebody else can do it? Like in our temple, we had a computer. So 2 brahmacharis were expert in computer. They opened the computer and it was not working. And 3 days they were spending 5 hours. They could not figure out what is the problem. When the matter was brought to me, I scolded them. Who told you to open this? And I said, we are from electronics and telecommunication. And we have already done all these things, PCB and everything. We thought we can figure out. 15 hours we have spent, we couldn't figure out. I told them, now you give it up and I will take care. They just called that AMC person we have, no? The person who takes care of the computer. I told him, he came, 5 minutes he said, the motherboard is having problem. It has to be changed, he said. And 5 minutes he figured out the problem. And that in another 1 hour he changed everything and went away. That's all. We just paid him some money. Here is an example of something which you should not do. You can always get it done from experts. You can delegate it to them rather than wasting your time. Correct now? In the same manner, in spiritual life, many times we don't know the priorities. Actually, you cannot know priority unless we cultivate Satwa. In Sataguna, actually, we will know what is important, what is less important, what is more important. We say prayers and Shreyas. So what is prayers? What is Shreyas? That sharpness, intelligence will only come when we cultivate Satwa. Otherwise, we are going to make wrong choices and the wrong choices will bring forth eventually problems. You will see that. So, okay, another thing I want to show you. See, these are also situations we face. Somebody is opposing your opinion, or somebody breaks the promises, somebody cheats you, somebody didn't bother about your convenience, somebody didn't fulfill your expectation. Let us see how many of you will be disturbed if somebody opposes your opinion. There are about, How many of you will be very disturbed by broken promises? Not many, there are few. Okay, 10 of them, okay. How many of you will be very angry if somebody cheats you? That's the maximum, I think. Yeah. The other one, fourth one is not that serious. Fifth one is also not that serious. So, these type of situations we all face or not? What do you say? Correct me, yeah. So here again, in Rajoguna, we will react to these situations when we are put in these situations. It can be a family member also. It can be a family member, it can be an official colleague. And if you are going to react back to that, that reacting will cause many damages. For example, you may not get cooperation from people who are with you if you react to this. So we have to learn to respond to this. So I will ask you a question. Let us see how you respond to this. Let me see. So the first one of you read it, the first one, there is. So you have to choose between A, B and C. So, for example, I asked somebody, hey, who is giving the evening Gaur Purnima lecture today? He said, I don't know. My assistant was telling, I don't know in those days. So I asked him, say, I don't know, anybody can say. Correct, no? But if you don't know what you should do, ask and tell. Correct, no? So I used to tell him, I don't know your answer. It's not even an answer, useless answer. Similarly, there is nothing I can do if you say you are disempowering yourself. So out of the three, which one will you say? I can say that I have tried enough, or let's look at the alternatives, or I can do provided I am assured that he won't interfere with me. Like that people talk. In these three, you have to choose one. Yeah. Correct answer. Let's look at the alternatives. Correct, no? So somebody says, say for example, your service is the output to another person. For him it is input. Your output is input for him. Say for example, somebody is slow in doing a service and that is affecting that person's service. Correct, no? So he's asking you, hey, why are you so slow? He's asking. And you're saying, that's just the way I am. Somebody is saying. So what would be your answer? A, B, C? I admit, please read it, all the three options. One of you who has a mic with you. I admit I speak
I admit I speak in a straightforward manner without being sentimental. I can choose a different approach. I suggest that we understand that everyone is of a different nature and let them be what they are.
How many of you say B? Okay, how many of you say C? The C also some answer, yeah. Now, B wale people can tell why C is wrong. You can tell them. Take the mic. Yeah, give the mic to him.
Even if we are we have some abilities which we are good, but we should try to do the seva by all possible means.
Okay, I suggest that we understand that everyone is of different nature. Let them be what they are, and I am what I am. If somebody says that, what is the problem with that answer? Yes? That's not a solution. That's the point. Because, he is disempowering himself. Correct? No, that's not a solution. Whereas in B, if you see, he is ready to take a different approach. For example, so I am slow. I know I am slow and you also know I am slow, but you want the work faster. So I'll take a different approach by telling my authority, please give me 1%. Say, Mataji is my garland. It takes about, say, 6 hours to make. And it has to be done for the altar very quickly. Then they may add 2-3 more people. That's a different approach, correct now? That is the empowering approach. Rather than saying that I am slow, Prabhu, don't expect me to be faster. Then that actually leaves that fellow with no solution. Correct now? You understood that? Okay, third one. Say you are working with somebody. Sometimes when we are working with somebody, that person is necessary for their team, for us. But we have problems with that person. How many of you experience of this? You need somebody, but that somebody is giving you problem also. Just like Prabhupada says, when you have a cow giving you milk, it also gives you kicks, he says. Now if you tell the cow that because you are giving kicks, I'll sell you away, I don't want, then you lose the milk also. Or if you want the milk, you have to tolerate kicks also, correct? No? So these kind of practical problems come. How many of you experience that when you work in situations, sometimes you have situations where such people are there, correct? No? So he's saying, he makes me so mad, I cannot work with him, he says. So there are three answers. You saw? Some people are saying C, some are saying B also, is it? Or which one? A? How many of you say A? Okay. How many of you say C? Anybody? Nobody said C? Okay. B? Achha, he says B, correct, no? So he says, he may be able to work with someone else, but not me, he says. So, what is the problem with that answer? Anybody? Huh? Huh? See, he makes me so mad. So he can, maybe he can work with others, but he can't work with me. That means, if you're going to say your authority tells you, Prabhuji, can you both do this service in the kitchen together? You say, Prabhu, if he is there, I cannot be there. Or if I am there, that's what Karna and Bhishma said. What Karna said, can I get into the battle? He said, as long as that old man is there, I will not do, he said. Because I will fight and he will get the credit. Well, let him get down, then I will get in. Like that, who said? Karna said. So was Duryodhana happy with his answer? No. Duryodhana wanted cooperation between them. Correct, no? Therefore, B is wrong, because B is disempowering. See, A, I control my own feelings. So, for example, if a husband and wife also, if they have a tussle, if you don't control feelings, then wife goes to her parents' home, then parents will be very worried. What happened? You had a fight and you both are separated. Everybody is in tension. Both families are in tension, correct? No? So they have to control their feelings, correct? So when can you control feelings? Which guna you can control feelings? In Sataguna you can manage your feelings. But in Rajaguna you are hurt. You say, I don't care for anybody. I don't care for my parents or your parents. Let them do whatever they want. I have made up my mind, you get lost. That is Rajaguna. Rajaguna means without full thinking, we arrive at snap decisions. Correct, no? See, I can work with him until he drives me mad. See, already he's making me mad. Therefore, we said he makes me so mad. Correct, no? Yeah. Therefore, what we have to do, there is something called as tolerating with wisdom. Like two people working together. Say, for example, you are going to a center to preach. You are a college preacher and you have an assistant with you who is a very good cook. But you both always have quarrel, for example. But all the boys say that he cooks the best prasad, fragrant prasad. And everybody says, we are coming for the program, Prabhu, because of that prasad only, they are saying. And you are giving lectures to them. Now you have a choice. You can say that I can work with him until he drives me mad. So it says, tomorrow he makes you mad, for example, makes you angry. You send him back, you tell the authorities, I don't want him. Then what do you lose? Then the students won't come. If you say that, I will give you very good lectures, please come, nobody will come. Because they want prasad, correct? No? So because you know that this person produces good prasad, I will tolerate him. Therefore I control my own feelings. But how do you control the feelings? You keep remembering. Nice prasad he cooks. Very good fellow. See the positive side. Next one, they won't allow that. For example, if you see that your superiors have certain perceptions about you, correct, no? Sometimes you say that, oh, they won't allow that. Some department wants to purchase something for the temple, they want some money to be sanctioned, correct, no? For some activity. You say that, like, you want to do Rathayatra, 10 lakh rupees you want to spend, will temple sanction it? No. Therefore, you say they won't allow that, you are saying. So what you can say in these three? Which one? Yeah, how many of you say C? Okay. Any of you say B or A? They may not allow due to their bias towards other department. Okay. I would have explained my position better, but they have perceptions that may stop them from allowing me, like that he says. So how many of you are sure it's only C? Okay, let us see. Correct? Yeah. is an empowering decision. Correct, no? Whereas the first two are disempowering decisions. There nothing will move, correct, no? Okay, I can't explain to them, he says. Yeah, because sometimes you have to explain something to some people, but no matter how much you explain, they will not agree. You've seen some people like that? Huh? So you say, oh, I can't explain to those guys and they won't understand this decision. He says like that. Like for example, any of you had to say no to somebody anytime? For anything? For what you had to say no? No. Somebody wanted something for which you had to say no. Say for example, somebody says, Prabhu, I want to take the temple vehicle, say a grocery devotee comes and says that I will take the temple vehicle and go for a program. I want the temple vehicle. But the temple has made a policy that only the same driver should drive the vehicle. Different people drive, it will be spoiled. And you have to say no to him. But he is a little strong devotee. If you say no, he will not agree. So you say that, I can't explain to that fellow. Then what can you do? ABC? Okay. Anybody else? How many of you say B? Okay. How many of you say A? C? Okay. Answer is B. Why it is B, I'll tell you. I prefer taking another route means you will not tell him. You will arrange for more senior devotee to tell him. Then only he will listen. Otherwise, if I tell, he won't listen. Correct, no? Prefer another route. Otherwise, you say, no, I can't tell him. It will fall in deaf ears or he will waste my time. All these are useless talk. Correct, no? Last one, I must do this work even if sky falls to ground. Sometimes you have some very vital work to do, but you have no time to do, very big struggle for you. Still you do it. Huh? So he says, I must do this despite my dislike because my boss is a taskmaster. He says, oh, otherwise that senior will be upset or whatever. I am supposed to do this if I have to maintain my job without being fired. I prefer to do this for my own future good, though it is a bit taxing my time and energy. ABC? See. So this is the way the Satwa person thinks. He thinks it's a long enduring success is Satwa. And Rajoguna means you feel the ego satisfaction by making a snap decision, whether it is spiritual life or your professional life. So this kind, you can clearly see it, this kind of options which you had. So, in the second chapter of the Gita, 2.56 to 2.72, Krishna talks about a Sthita Prajna, correct, no? There are a lot of clues given there about how we plan, how we manage our emotions. There, if somebody is affectionate to you or somebody is angry on you, how do you respond to that? Correct, no? Like I showed you 5 situations. Somebody is cheating you, somebody is unfair with you, somebody is not caring for you, somebody is... Correct? So in the same manner like that, Arjuna is asking, what is that famous verse? Prajnasya gavasha samadhistasya keshava chitadi kim prabhate prabhasheta kim asita vrajeta kim. 4 things asking. What are the symptoms of a self-realized man or a self-manager? Secondly, how does he sit? How does he speak? How does he walk? The meaning of this sit means, how is he situated in this world of senses and sense objects? How is he situated peacefully? That means if somebody is angry towards him or affectionate towards him, how does he respond to that? And then how does he speak? Means how does he react or respond? Now, right now, all of you said how to respond, how not to react. React is default option, and responding is design. You are designing, and the designing means you have to think. Without thinking, how will you design your speech, your action? Correct, no? So therefore, Krishna is teaching that very nicely there. How to design your response to situations. So you have to be a thinking fellow. Think and speak. Vision first, action next. That's again Satwa that requires. And how does he walk means, how does he wander in this world without becoming a victim of Vachavegam, Manasavegam, Krodhavegam, Jigvavegam, Mudravegam, Apastavegam, all these vegams. And when he's wandering in the world. Again, if you are in Rajoguna, we become easy victims of these 6 vegams. Very easy. Because people in Rajaguna, they are very having a competitive drive. So they are always doing prajalpa, how to pull that fellow's leg. I mean, how to compete. Of course, pulling the leg would start by the Tamaguni people. Huh? Rajaguni people try to climb on the head of others. So they are always doing prajalpa. You will see that. And they were always doing prayas. Prayas is in which guna? Rajaguna. Yeah. So prayas is in Rajaguna, prajalpa is in Rajaguna. Atyahara, over accumulation. There's also in Rajaguna. Like in America, in my travel, one place I saw, they had a teddy bear, this much size teddy bear, a big teddy bear which is bigger than me also. Like that, they had dozen teddy bears they had kept in the, below garage. Garage was full of a lot of toys and many things. So when they opened it, I was shocked. Dozen teddy bears. They said, oh, different teddy bears came in different birthdays. My God. So there's a tendency to accumulate things. Accumulate. When you accumulate more and more, you need more bigger house. Then bigger house means more money spent. More money means you need a bigger job. Bigger job means more time also. And more time you give for the job, less time for Krishna consciousness. How things connect, you see. So a person in Satwa means he will think first before doing. Correct? No? Sattva means clean. Don't keep things which you are not using, give it away. Sell it off or give it away. So you will see Atyahara, Prayasa, Prajalpa, Niyamagraha. Niyamagraha is in Tamaguna, because in Tamaguna what happens? You are neglectful, inattentive, careless, casual. That is which guna? Tamaguna. Inattentive, careless, neglecting important things. That is Tamaguna. So that is Niyamagraha. Niyamagraha means what? Neglecting spiritual sadhana. Or Niyama Agraha means accepting for the sake of just ritual, not for spiritual advance. For example, somebody says, Prabhu, I am very strict in filling of sadhana card. Regularly I get 30%. If somebody says, is it very useful? Last 6 months I am getting 30%. He's not making an effort to improve. Correct, no? So that is called Niyama Agraha. Niyama Agraha means, I never fill up any sadhana card. That means neglecting the duties. That is Niyama Agraha. So in Tamaguna, people drop responsibilities or they postpone. Always they postpone everything. Like students never study in the beginning of the year. When the examination comes, they will quickly make photocopy and everything and start studying. Correct? Now that is Tamaguna. So why am I talking about these gunas? Because if we are not going to think about this deeply, our life mostly goes like this only. In Tamaguna, Rajaguna only it goes many times. Even though we have become devotees, in Tamaguna people are dragged and slapped and punched and pounded and buried. They have no freedom at all in Tamaguna. Tamaguna habits and the old habits will take over us. Sleeping habits, eating habits, and all kinds of bad habits. They will all overtake us. And Rajaguna, things like Atyahara, Prayasa, Prajalpa, all these things, Janasanga, all these things are Rajaguna. Similarly, Vachavegam, Manasavegam, Krodhavegam. So, Krodhavegam is in Rajaguna, correct, no? Yeah. Manasavegam is hyperactive mind, Rajaguna again. Vachavegam, being like a chatterbox. See, chatterbox can be either Rajaguna or Tamaguna. Because like mantra is a chatterbox. She's going and talking to Kaikeyi, creating insecurity for her. Because mantra was insecure, do you know that? Mantra was having a hunchback. So in the palace, some people used to tease her. So she thought that if Kaushalya's son becomes king, people will continue teasing me. But if my Swamini, Kaikeyi becomes the king, then I will also become important. Like that she thought. Then she went and polluted the mind of Kaikeyi. She's a chatterbox, but insecure chatterbox. Correct? No? Then there is also Rajaguni chatterbox who wants to speak a lot to show that I know a lot. So they are people, like people sometimes show they are busy than actually doing something active. So these are all both the verses you will see. This Vachavegam and Atyahara verse, they are all Rajaguna Tamaguna verse. On the other hand, you see Utsahan, Nishchayat, Dhairyat, Actually, Nishya, determination, is also in Rajaguna and also in Satwa. You will read, Krishna talks about 3 types of determination in Bhagavad Gita. You will see that. Utsaha, Nishya, Dhairya, patience. Which guna? Patience is in. Satwa. You will see that. Tattat Karam Pavatar, following in footsteps of Acharyas. Satovrite. Sangatyaga, Satovrite. So, therefore, you can read this. I'll just show you one chapter in the Srimad Bhagavatam. If you go to the 11th canto, Uddhav Gita. So in the Uddhav Gita, I'll show you this chapter, 25th chapter. Uddhav Gita, if you see this, see, it's a very good chapter. There are 10 items Lord Krishna is saying in this chapter, which if you focus on, Sattva can be increased very fast in this. There are many items. Here we'll see. See, he's saying here, what is... I had even a slide also on this. Let me check whether I have. I had that one. There was one slide, all the 10 items are given. First one? No, not that. Topmost, this one? No, these are all pictures. But I had one slide where all the 10 items are there also. But you will find in this chapter, if you read this chapter, here is what it comes. Please read this, the substance.
The substance, place, and result of activity along with the time, the knowledge underlying action, the activities itself, the performer, his faith, his level of awareness, his spiritual progress, and his destination of the death, all partake of the 3 modes and manifest variously in terms of distinctions and
Yeah, like that he goes on. So each of this is very nicely explained. See, each of it is explained. I'll just show you. See here. This is the 25th chapter, correct? So you can see that the qualities are given. Same way in Bhagavad Gita also Krishna gives 14th chapter, correct? Recognizing a person's mode. Bhakti. And then he goes on like this. See, objects affected by gunas and objects beyond gunas. So he's saying this also. For example, residence, your house, residence in a forest, town, in a gambling house, and all that he says. Knowledge, performer, food, like that, everything he will say here. And then here he says, one who practices serious bhakti can not only come to Sattva Guna, he can transcend even the Sattva also. Actually, in this chapter only, see here he says, go beyond passion and ignorance. A wise sage should subdue sense and worship me. He should engage himself only in mode of goodness. And then he's saying, going beyond goodness. Thus, being fixed in devotion service, the sage should also conquer the material mode of goodness by indifference towards the modes. And then one goes beyond the modes in this thing. So this is So in this chapter, Krishna says one interesting, but I'll show you that. Anyway, there's a verse, I'm not able to look at it. It's called as Swabhava Vijayam Shauryam. He says, conquering the lower nature is real heroism. Krishna says to Buddha, Swabhava, you'll find out if you. Swabhava Vijayam Shauryam, which means, like all of us have a guna, and that guna, there are, like Rajaguna, for example, has two good side and bad side also. Like a king, for example, Shauryo, Tejam, Dididaksham, Yuddhechapi Palayanam, all that he says. And there are good qualities of Rajaguna. And what is the bad quality of Rajaguna? Becoming proud and becoming greedy. Those are bad side of Rajaguna. So that bad portion should be cut off. Krishna says this in this chapter. Actually, Rajas is not totally rejected, but the Rajas should be guided by Sattva. That's why I told you quadrant 1 should be accompanied by quadrant 2. Quadrant 1 is Rajaguna, quadrant 2 is Sattva. So if you focus on these two quadrants, if you want to know more, you can also see there's a book called The Art of Smart Work. You've seen the small book we published. In that I give a little more details you will find. So Tamaguna and Rajaguna below 3rd and 4th quadrant are fully useless because they're time wasters. And those time wasters I showed you in those 10 examples. Correct? You remember that? One by one I showed you. Those kind of activities, if you avoid, you can make a lot of time in a day. How many of you would like to have a little more time for yourself? Correct now? This is how you make time. This is a secret. If you are, for example, an empowering leader who, like I am sitting here now, coolly giving lectures. 3 months I can be away from Pune. And Revati Prabhu, Antari Prabhu, they all can manage that very nicely. Because they train people. Correct now? So I spent a lot of time in quadrant 2. So training, education. Most of my time in Pune is spent in training and education. Like right now I'm doing a series called as MALT, M-A-L-T, stands for Managers and Leaders Training. 40 topics. And I was recently made RSA, we call it. It's called as Regional Secretary Assistant for 5 places. Aurangabad, Kolhapur and Satara and Agamatangar and Pune. First thing I did, as soon as I got the responsibility, I called all the leaders and told them, for you fellows, I'm starting a leadership training. And some 200 people joined that. Put them in the training because before I go there, they should undergo training so that they don't bring problems to me. Correct, no? Because they should be able to solve it on their own. And whatever they cannot solve only, they should bring it to me. So why did I do this? Because in which quadrant it is, what I did now? Second quadrant, training and education. Correct, no? Here also you see Premanand Prabhu, all these people are doing here very nicely. Because they were trained very nicely before, correct, no? So in our life also, if you focus on Sattva more, planning our life, keep your job, keep your home, keep your devotional service, practice the Sattva as Lord is teaching in this chapter. And Bhagavad Gita also, 14 to 17 chapter is very good, Bhagavad Gita. We have a lot of things to learn. So that will be very helpful in bringing about regulation, discipline, all the things will come. Let us take 1 or 2 questions. 5 minutes we'll take and we'll conclude, okay? Acha, 11, 19? 11, 19, 36 to 39. In that you'll find Swabhava Vijayam Shauryam. You'll find that. Very good. 11, 19, 36. Okay. So, anybody can say some of the summary points of what I spoke today. What did we begin with? Regulation. I didn't, I suppose you never said about regulation or discipline or habits. Actually, everything is contained in this. If we focus on this, other things are very easy. Everything will come. Because the 3 shlokas of NOI, you can practice them best if you cultivate Sattva lifestyle. That means early to bed. How many of you have seen the video, why millionaires across the globe get up at 4 a.m.? Is that correct? Smart fellows, correct now? They sleep early, they rise early. That means because of Sattva, they are getting extra advantage in their lives. Planning something creatively early in the morning. Correct now? So today we spoke many things. Some of you can just tell the main hints. You can tell me what all we discussed. Yes? Hints? Yeah? DOS, DOS principle, yeah. Discipline?
obedience and
Self-control.
self-control.
Thank you.
And then from DOS principle, we went to the learning agility.
Yes. Agility actually means adaptability situation. So I was telling you that in the modern times, the life is not as simple as the previous times, I was telling. So what are some of the challenges? I said in the professional friend, family friend, in every friend I was telling you. That might be a little frightening for anybody, but it's a reality in the world. Because we are living in a fast-paced world. And even brahmacharis in those days, if you say Navadvipa Pandal, you just have a chatush party under a tree, you sit, you have some 20 students, you teach them, that's all. And then you can do your reading, chanting, take prasad and go to sleep. Typically the brahmanas are like that. But now we are globally connected, correct, no? We're connected to so many places, so many people. Where traveling has increased, flying in from here to there. Even for brahmacharis, I'm saying, what is because of all of you? Correct, no? Yeah. And the type of preachings we do, we go to companies, corporate circles to give programs and all, and they have many expectations from us. So, therefore, the modern day world is not similar to the previous world. Therefore, I told you there are many challenges. And why did I say all these challenges? In conclusion, what I told you?
That we cannot be casual with our spiritual duty.
Actually, you have to take control of your life. Only then you can survive in the modern times. And how do you take charge of your life? So 2 words are used, 2 Ds. What I said?
Default
and design. So which one we should take?
Design.
We should design our day, design our week, design our life. And not go by default. And the default mode, 2 shlokas I told you. What is the default mode? In NOI? 1 and 2. First and second verse is default mode. Third verse is design. So you have to design your life with the third verse. That requires Satwa. Correct, no? Yeah. Thank you. Anything else? Yeah?
About second quadrant.
I told about the 4 quadrants. But before I told about the quadrant, did I show that jar? No? Setting priorities. So, who is the person who doesn't know the priorities? Who is not in Satwa. He doesn't know. Actually, a person in passion is driven by off-center. Money is honey. Post. Fame. I am a member of 50 clubs, 30 clubs, like that they say. But they go to off-center as Rajoguni people. And Tamaguna people, they are blind and ignorant. They just don't know any prioritization. They're confused, bewildered and all that. But Satoguni people, they can understand clearly what is first, what is next. So they put the big rocks first. And then smaller rocks. And they fill it up with smaller and smaller rocks and then sand and water and everything. So they know how to fit in things in the day very nice, smartly. So they can accomplish a lot of things in a short time. If you are in Satwa, because you get that command over your time, command over your speech, command over your life, command over your anything you do in life. That command actually comes from Satwa, because you are a thinking person. Think and then act. Very good. So anything else? Anybody else? You said many nice points. Somebody else can also say. Others? Anybody else? What else you grasped?
We discussed about situations need careful attention.
Which one?
So situation needs careful response. 5 points. Opposing your opinion, broken promises.
We told some challenging situations which require very careful response, not a passionate response. If you give a passionate response, it's called reactive. If you are reactive, you will suffer losses. And therefore, I told you example of. So where do we learn that from? Careful response. Where does Krishna teach it? Of course, Uddhava Gita is teaching 3 gunas, but this is Sthita Prajna, 2nd chapter. If somebody is affectionate or angry, how do you respond? There, those 2.56 to 2.22, very good section it is to learn. Yeah, anything else you remember?
Pruchi, you told that earlier we used to get many time to practice, but currently what is happening? The world is so fast that the big rocks we are मतलब हम उसको पीछे छोड़ देते हैं, like chanting.
Correct.
The basic thing, morning program.
And that is the easiest way to go to Tamaguna. When we give up the vital ones, Then we go to Tamaguna, Rajaguna, then we suffer. Therefore, we have to know the big rocks, vital ones. Thank you. That's a very important point. Then, yes. We should have that Mamichaptundaranjay. We should have the desire to attain Krishna. That desire, is what actually, like Yasya Prasada, Bhagavad Prasada, we say. So when you have the desire, then you connect with Guru, then you please Guru, when Guru is pleased, Krishna is pleased. And then you make swift progress. So we should not just, regulation means whatever Guru has told me to do, I will do it for his pleasure. That's very important. So then regulated lifestyle, in everything, in eating habit, sleeping habit, in everything we do. So like Yukta Hara Vihara, all these things we say. Regulation, that. Okay, what else you remember? Anything else? Yeah. If you are smart, you spend more time in long-term planning and developing yourself, and also doing things in advance without creating a crisis in everything. There are many things that come in there. For example, developing good communication with family members and developing good communication with colleagues in the office. If you are a good communicator and they are friendly with you, then a lot of work gets done more easily than when you have friction with them. Correct, no? So in Satwa, there is no friction. Friction comes generally in Rajaguna. Rajaguna and Tamaguna also, because Tamaguna is insecurity causes friction. Rajaguna, competition causes friction. Whereas in Sattva-guna, there's a smooth. Because Sattva-guna people are pretty detached also. Correct, no? Yeah. So therefore we have to cultivate, and we have to do quadrant 2. Anything else you remember? First vision, then action. That is Sattva. Yeah, correct. Anything else? We are partially thinking, yeah. Yeah. Yes. Correct. That's true. Very true. Thank you. Good point. It's partial thinking. Partial thinking creates problems eventually. Yeah, anybody else? One last point, anybody? Yeah? Empowering and de-empowering, we had a MCQ on that. So you all identified, most of you identified the correct choice in that. So that actually guides you to thinking in mode of goodness. Correct, na? This is the way you have to think. Don't disempower yourself, don't disempower others. Go for an empowering choice. Like that, yeah. Okay, yes? Yeah, please give it in.
We also see that, like we see even our Varnashram system, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. So that is also depending on one psychophysical nature.
Yeah.
So there is a psychophysical nature aspect and there is also a training aspect.
Yeah.
So how much
There is a very big difference. For example, a typical Shudra in Varnashrama, how he is. And somebody in ISKCON, for example, maybe doing labor type of service, how he is, if you see. So you will find that we are Daivi Varnashrama. Everything we do is connected to Guru and Krishna. Correct, no? So somebody may be doing the karma of a Shudra in ISKCON, for example. But, he may be, because he's following Guru and Krishna, he may rise early in the morning, he may take bath, correct, no? He lives like a Brahmana. You have seen the Shudras? Because somebody may be doing, there are many, I know people like watchmen or people, even drivers of the cars in ISKCON, once they get initiated, their profession, their activity may be there, but the guna is like Vaishnava. Correct, no? So therefore, now Sattva means he doesn't act impelled by his guna, but he acts as per the order of Guru. Correct, no? So therefore, he gets the same advantage what we are talking. Correct, no? Because if Guru's order becomes ultimate for the individual, then he experiences the same joy like anyone else. One last example I want to speak and conclude the talk. Recently when I went to America, I met one very amazing devotee. His name is Krishna Kirtan Prabhu. He's somewhat like almost like 45, 46, I think, age. And he is he's a manager, branch manager of Bank of America there, working. So he is the president of ISKCON Delaware temple. He is running the temple also. He has the temple, ISKCON temple. So he told the bank people that, sorry, I don't have, I have a lot of things to do now. I'm already 46. I want to take VRS. He told, no. You cannot take VRS. We need you very much because all the people in the bank, they treat him with so much respect because of his mature decision making, because of his mature dealing with people, and because of his ability to quickly listen to people, understand the problem, and give quick solutions to people. So the company has told him that if you are just at the top, things go very well in our company. And if you are not there, we are facing a lot of problems. Just at least come for some time. So every day he goes only 1 hour, can you imagine? In the morning he goes 10 to 11, he goes to company. And 11 o'clock he packs up and comes back. And then he's running the temple, ISKCON temple. He said, I just work for 1 hour, Prabhu, he said. And he's getting the same salary. Because company is quite smoothly running. He makes the vision for the company, plans for the company, different employees' strengths he knows, and then who will do what and everything. Everything on paper he gives, and they run the company, and he gets ample of time for Krishna service. And he's very cool devotee also. So when I was talking on this subject, I was thinking how smart he is, correct, no? Actually, I saw my spiritual master also. He is very good in empowering people. Many of the things that I do, I learn from him also. Like in some places, the leaders keep 25 or 30 chabis in the chabi ka gucha. Anything you want, the top leader only will come and open and give you. You want Mahaprasad, I have the chabi. You want books, I will only give you. You want any money, accounts, IRs. They have control of everything. So because of that, their workload increases or reduces? Tremendously increases. They are unempowering and micromanaging leaders. On the other hand, my spiritual master is a very empowering leader. He gives a lot of freedom to people and make them do things, make them learn at their own this thing. So this person was like that. He's a grihastha man. He has a son, his 2 sons, blissfully situated. I wish that many of us as leaders can learn from him. So I'll conclude my talk. We have exceeded the time now. Next class, is it what time it is? Here in 5, nobody has come. Congregation will come, I think. Yeah. After they come, we'll start. Shri Prabhupada ki